Hello there, this is only one Kenobi, only one. And I wanted to just do one final video talking about the Toy Fair, just to wrap everything up. I did do a podcast with Usual Mike Television, where we discussed for about half an hour on the actual podcast all the news and our reaction to it. So if you haven't seen or even heard that podcast, please do check it out. There is a link in the description of this video and in the comment section as well. But I wanted to just give one final word from my own perspective, just because that was a half an hour podcast, just to put it all into one short video. My thoughts on the Toy Fair. Overall, my reaction was very excited. I loved all the announcements. I've kind of put them in an order of what excited me the most, if you like, at the beginning, and then at the end, the things that weren't as important for me. But overall, every item that was discussed or announced there was of interest. So here we go. The first thing that I really liked was the Jabbas playset. Now, the only reason that is because I'm not a diorama collector or really a fan of having dioramas in this point in my life, because space does not allow me to have dioramas. However, what I liked about this pack was the announcement of hand Carbonite and Ree-Yees in the vintage collection. Now, you will know that the reason I started YouTube in the first place was to speculate and forecast what we could and should have in the vintage collection, and I've been saying it right from the beginning that hand Carbonite, Ree-Yees are two of the big boys that could be put on vintage cards, and thank God they are. Fantastic, I can't wait for that. And I shall be buying this playset for the sole reason just to get my hands on those two card backs. However, it might be quite nice to also have this diorama to put my hand Carbonite block, and who knows, as people have been speculating, this could be a working piece, as in there could be more sections of Jabbas Palace to get to add along with it. So that's something to look forward to as well. My favourite card back reveal had to be the Rogue One card back. I loved the image, and also it's just nice to have a good close-up look of this brand new Stormtrooper, which we knew was going to be definitive, and man, they could repack this all they like as far as I'm concerned, especially if they were to put it onto a New Hope original Star Wars card back. But the figure looks incredible. It has to be the definitive Stormtrooper. Let me know what you think about that, but certainly I'm glad of the image they chose for this Stormtrooper. It looks fantastic. Speaking of images, yes, I am excited about the Han Solo Stormtrooper outfit. Alas, as I put in the podcast, I was a little disappointed, to say the least, with the actual image that was chosen. I can't tell from the publicity shots if it is, as I said, slightly computer generated, but the image of Han is not what I personally as a fan would have chosen. I would have chosen the more iconic image of Han wearing his, or Harrison Ford wearing his Stormtrooper outfit. Next, the barge, the Khetanna sail barge. Yes, indeed, how can anybody not get excited about this? This is just fantastic news all around. I have my concerns. I don't know how the hell I'm going to get hold of one, even if I had the money, which I'm not even sure I do. When this hyperlink goes real, the big concern is it going to be gone in a matter of seconds? Are a whole load of scalpers going to get hold of it and fleece them off twice or thrice the price? All these are concerns. However, one had to feel a hint of excitement when you felt the prospect of getting this thing. It's within reach, and man, I would love a Khetanna sail barge. Another issue is, where the hell am I going to put it? Where are you going to put it? Let me know in the comments if you have the space for this 4-foot long monster. But, you know, just to have the kudos of owning one would be something special. Next up, the retro line. Now, this is in the middle of the pack now because, you know, I am very excited about the retro line, as I'm sure you might have seen my reaction video when I first saw the news from Yakface on his Instagram posts. But the whole thing is a little bit bittersweet. I've now discovered that these buttons on the front, or these stickers, what I thought were stickers are not actually stickers, they are actually printed on there, which is god-awful. I mean, even if they were stickers, I would have kept them on, because I do like stickers, so to that respect, I like them. But the fact that they aren't stickers, they are printed on there, is awful. I would have much preferred you had the plain image, just as you would have in the 80s and 70s. Which brings me to the rustic style. Now, I've gone from a little bit of love-hate with this. I initially, when I looked on Instagram, thought it was some sort of glitch on the image. I didn't realise that it was part of the actual design. Then I went to not liking the actual idea of doing what they did. But now I've seen a few images of them at the actual event. I actually quite like it. In fact, it actually serves to differentiate these cards from the original 80s ones. However, if you want my personal preference, I would have preferred if they had given us the original 80s cards, just like they are in the actual vintage collection. They are producing exactly as they were, in most cases, vintage 80s and 70s card backs. One in particular I want loose is the Darth Vader, only because I just have very many happy childhood memories of having that figure in my hand, probably more than any other figure. But the whole thing is bittersweet anyway, because they have announced this Tarkin, which I know it's got a little bit of cargo and baggage with it, the fact that you've got to buy a game, but the fact that you can get hold of a vintage Tarkin now, just as it could and should have been in the 1970s/80s, is quite exciting for even the people who are sceptical about the retro line. Another great car back to see was the Lando Skiff, and that brings me to the actual Skiff vehicle, which has been announced as well. Which again makes me feel a little bit sad because, you know, to own the Skiff, it would be nice to have that with a barge sat next to it, and I don't even know if I'm going to get a barge in my possession. But the Skiff does look very nice. That would be quite good and decent price, dare I say. Also, Lando Skiff is something that I've been expecting and speculating about in the past. That's nice to see that officially coming out very soon. The Phantom Menace line also interested me because, you know, back in the day, I remember buying this line-up and thinking it was a very decent line of figures. The quality was there. There were more than 5 points of articulation back in the day, as I remember, but this is nice to see a 6-inch tribute for the 20th anniversary of Phantom Menace. And I and many others have been touched again with that nostalgic wand that they are using to dangle carrots to get us buying their products, which is, to their credit, it's a business and it floats people's boats. But the thing is, I'm not sure if it's going to be available beyond Star Wars Celebration. Let me know in the comments again. I don't know all the full details, but that will mean that this thing will be either very expensive or hard to come by, or both. Finally, the Hyperreal line. Now this is one thing that didn't fully interest me, mainly because of the price tag, but also the scale. Having to now dive into a new scale of figure collecting is going to be a toll on everyone's bank balance, no doubt. But as a one-off, as Mike said in the podcast, if you are new to collecting and you saw this in the shops, it would probably jump out at you and you would buy it. In fact, yes, it's something nice to get, potentially nothing quite as big as Hot Toys and this 12-inch scale stuff. To have an 8-inch one-off figure would be quite nice for the casual collector to own this. And dare I say, if the price came down, I'd probably get one, you know what I mean? It all looks good. So thank you very much for listening to that roundup. That will be the last you'll hear from me on the Toy Fair. No doubt I shall reference it in future videos, but what I mean is that is my final roundup of all I saw and heard. Thank you very much for listening. If you haven't already subscribed, please do subscribe to Only One Kenobi. Tap the notification bell. I have daily videos every day at 8 PM UK time, which is 3 PM New York City time, and it is the early hours for our friends in Australia. Thank you for watching. Hit the like button, subscribe. This has been Only One Kenobi. Only One. Out.